Hello, my name is Nick, and today I'm going to be speaking to you about the money mistakes that young adults make in their lifetime. Now, the question you should be asking yourself when you get your paycheck is, where should I put this money? Now, when I was growing up, I was always fascinated by the way that people manage their money and what they do with their money, so I decided to go into the path of accounting. So I love finances and I deal with general ledger accounts and budgeting with the company, so I feel like I have some room to speak in this topic. Now, a few examples of mistakes that young adults make with their money is they don't save their money early enough, they don't have an emergency fund necessarily, and lifestyle inflation. Now, to help kickstart your living situation, you really want to start saving early, because the earlier you save, obviously the earlier you can afford like a house, because especially nowadays it's pretty tough to find a house with pricing and inflation and interest rates. So usually you want to have more money when you're younger, so that you can kind of compensate for that when you're older, so you can save up for other things and hit different goals by the time you reach a higher age. In Eric Tyson's book from 2021 called Personal Finance in Your 20s and 30s for Dummies, on page 260, he says, quite often people who go through this process say things like, I never took the time to consider why I do what I do with my money and even what I'm doing. So for the average American, they usually only have $5,400 by the time they're 35 in the savings account. So one way to combat that is kind of just live a healthier financial lifestyle. And a good way to help with that is by setting your own budget and knowing what to spend, how to spend it, and why you're spending it, and whatever your financial needs are at the time. Now, another example of a mistake that young people make in their early adult age is not having an emergency fund. Now, when you don't have an emergency fund and something goes wrong, you're kind of out of luck there. An emergency fund is typically 3 to 6 months of monthly expenses that you can that you should be saving up to in case you lose a job or emergency happens, like you lose a washer, your car, some things that'll just pop up randomly. And in a book by Michael J. Collins named A Fragile Balance, Emergency Savings and Liquid Resources for Low-Income Consumers, it was written and published in 2015. On page 3, he says, saving for potential income loss is a focus of studies in precautionary saving. Researchers often focus on the savings that households accumulate based on expectations of future income loss. Now, you never know, like I said, when the emergency will pop up, so you always want to have that emergency savings. And people say 36 months, but usually on average it's around like $5,000 in an emergency savings account. But that's kind of what you're looking for. And another major example of mistake that you should avoid as a young adult is lifestyle inflation, which is when you make more money, you spend more money. And this is pretty common in younger adults because usually they start working in like a high school environment, like a fast food restaurant or a retailer, and then by the time they're done with school, say they go to college, junior college, they come out and they start making probably around at least double what they were making at that last location or their last job they were at. They think they could just take that money and spend it all and have no means of why they did that or why not. And it's really not a healthy way to use your income, because obviously you want to save that money. Like I was saying before, you got to save for a house, you got to save emergency funds, and now it's just another way that'll help save that much money. And in a book by Stephen Bucci, it's called Getting Out of Debt for Dummies, on page 88, he says, your income determines how much money you can spend on your lifestyle or put toward your future, like retirement. This is written in 2024. So when people get promotions, they buy more expensive stuff because now they can. It's not really why am I? Which is kind of a question you should ask yourself, and you should kind of limit yourself in between wants and needs. And also, you should probably set a savings goal for yourself. And one of the savings goals you can set for yourself is in a budget. Budgets are usually really a solid way of managing your financials. And also, in a Liz Epstein book published in 2021, it's called Personal Finance, a Quick Study Digital Reference Guide. On page 3, she says, to avoid blowing through that savings, set aside the amount you want to save as soon as you can and when you get your paycheck. Now, that's pretty self-explanatory, but obviously save what you can with your paycheck and don't blow it out. Especially when you get a promotion, don't change your savings and don't change your wants, the way you spend your want. So in conclusion, when it comes down to young adults spending their money, making these financial decisions, they should be fully aware of the consequences. I went through all these examples. Hopefully you'd have a better understanding even about your own income, if you want to manage your own income. Because some people still make these same mistakes even when they're not young adults. So it's good to understand and help manage your own income. You gotta think for the long term, and when you hit your goals, it feels a lot better. Your financial goals feels a lot better than just making an impulse buy and regretting it later. So that's all I have for you, and thank you very much.